Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo, and you're watching another live edition of the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short, your daily dose of geek news, product views, and answers that you can use, like an answer to the question, Chris, when are you going to do another AMA? Well, you know I do them every Friday, and now you know I'll release another AMA every Monday in the podcast. I rebooted the podcast. The Chris Pirillo Show. You can get it in your favorite podcasting client. Just search for Chris Pirillo. It's hosted on SoundCloud, so you can follow me there, subscribe there if you want. SoundCloud is a great platform, and they're beta testing their podcasting features. So, you can listen to the Chris Pirillo Show. What I'm going to do with that every week is do the AMA. So all the questions I can't get to for this week, the questions asked of me, not just from the Super Nomies, my patrons, maybe not all 928 of them, but the ones who've pledged at that level to get priority AMA. If I can't get to them, they'll be stacked into the podcast, as well as the people who are participating in AMA threads that I might initiate on other social platforms. And at some point in the very near future, I'll be doing the same thing in a rebooted LockerGnome app. Not just for iOS, but for Android, although the iOS version will be released before the Android version in terms of a reboot for our app. So, today's the AMA. But before I begin, let me go ahead and also tip my hat to one of our sponsors, because managing your company's IT support needs can be challenging, especially when you have remote or mobile employees. That's why I highly recommend Citrix GoToAssist, the #1 global market leader in remote support. This easy-to-use, cloud-based remote support solution allows you and your IT team to solve problems faster. Maybe you are your IT team. Maybe you're the guy or gal who's got their own tech support business. This is a tool that will help. And if you sign up for GoToAssist today, this is the last day to take advantage of this offer, October 10th, you'll get another Citrix product of your choice free for 6 months. Take advantage of this, please, or tell your IT team to take advantage of this. It's so easy. Citrix has this product that, as far as I'm concerned, is the easiest remote support tool that I've ever used, and I've used it for years. GoToAssist Remote Support lets you provide live and unattended support to any computer or mobile device, screen share to diagnose and fix problems faster and more effectively, and use GoToAssist apps to easily deliver support anytime, anywhere. If you work in IT, I want you to try GoToAssist. If your business is focused on the model of giving people tech support, I want you to try GoToAssist. Sign up for GoToAssist today. Get another Citrix tool free for 6 months. This is the last day to do it. Visit GoToAssist.com and get started, but do not wait. The special offer ends today, October 10th. Visit GoToAssist.com and sign up to receive the special offer today. Please do. Just give it a shot. Just try it. Even if you don't know, what's this IT? Just try it. Worth a shot. Just give it a shot. Why not? What are you going to do? What else are you going to do with your time? Listen to me. Well, you can do that. You can do it at the same time. Do it in parallel. So, beginning with the patrons, they get priority for AMA. Peter Abraham asks, how likely do you think Apple will announce a MacBook Retina Air and 12-inch iPad Pro? Nobody knows. There's a rumor mill, of course, and I don't like putting a lot of credibility behind any amount of rumors. It's a good question, and it's likely in relation to the pending announcements coming on October 16th. Apple's going to have a series of announcements, hopefully live streamed. I plan on doing a live stream around the Apple announcements, as they will likely be around new Macs and new iPads, because it's been a while since Apple's talked about them. And of course, they've got the pending release of Yosemite, the next version of OS X, which more than likely will be free. Because Apple doesn't care. I mean, Apple sells hardware. They don't really sell software. Everything in the software realm has kind of gone free. So, when are they going to announce a MacBook Retina Air? It'd be great, because a Retina MacBook Air would be awesome. The thing is that the components have to be fast enough, and they have to be affordable enough so that Apple can make money. Apple doesn't make money in software. They make money in hardware. So, in order for Apple to introduce a MacBook Retina display MacBook Air, the components have to be such that they perform well, and they can introduce it at the same price point as the current MacBook Airs, because they couldn't release a new MacBook Air Retina display. Even if it was spec'd better, if they released a new MacBook Air that was pricier, people would be like, what? I'm going to go with the old MacBook Air. I'm not going to spend more money. People want better machines for the same amount of money or less money. I don't think Apple can work around that problem. Do I know? I have not a clue. It's suggested that there may be an iMac, a new iMac, like a 5K display iMac. That's a suggestion. I'm excited about that, because it would likely be the excuse I would need to finally upgrade my 6-year-old Mac Pro. I like the idea of an iMac more so than the Mac Pro, and I've enjoyed the Mac Pro, but honestly, it may be overkill for a lot of what I'm doing these days, and I just could never find a sponsor for a newer Mac Pro, so I sidelined it, and maybe the iMac will be, if there is a 5K iMac, I'd go that route. 12-inch iPad Pro, great question. There are suggestions that if Apple were to talk about a larger screen iPad, that would be an iPad Pro, and that's not an official name, it's just a suggested name. In the rumor mill, I just got to underscore that, but they're kind of constrained in terms of supply. So the iPhone has been very popular, and they're using the same components. So if they were to release an iPad Pro, it probably wouldn't be for a few months, certainly not until after the holiday season, but it would be very wise for Apple to announce something. Just like I said when they announced the Apple Watch, it was smart for them to do it before the holiday season, even though they wouldn't ship until after the holiday season, because it just stops people from buying alternatives. Do I think they'll announce? It is possible, but no one knows. No, even I don't have an answer to the question. And Peter, you might know this. I mean, I'm not the kind of guy who says, yeah, they're going to announce it. Because then, what if I come out and say, the rumors are true? Oh my God, believe in the rumors. Then they don't come true. You suddenly see me differently, or you should. Like if someone comes out and says the rumor of what's going to happen, then it doesn't happen, you should stop believing them. That's their credibility they're putting on the line. I'm telling you flat out. It's a rumor. It may or may not happen. I am never going to tell you a rumor is going to come true unless I have definitive evidence that it is going to come true. And I'm never going to do that because I don't want to violate any relationship that someone doesn't want me to leak information about something. So that's pretty much the evergreen answer for me in rumors as far as they're concerned, because my integrity is everything. If I come out and say something, it's usually based on my experience or perspectives, or at least giving you context to understand why something would happen. Not just talking about the thing that happened. That's not interesting at all. Steve Shanine. Hey there, Chris. Sorry again, not participating much. Not a big deal. His mom's been sick. Hasn't had time the past month. Steve, I hope she does well or pulls out of it. He says I should start by saying, wow, it's almost like an email. Amazing name for a beautiful child. Hope she takes after you. I think she'll take after both Diana and me. He says, Chris, I'm apparently what he aspires to be someday. Steve, you can do it. I believe in you. I believe in everybody out there. So long as you believe in me, I believe in you. It's usually kind of how it works. So his AMA. 1, do you feel iOS 8 is dangerously similar to Android Jelly Bean in a way? I mean, with the unnerving mistakes a crossroads. Now, I wouldn't say dangerously similar. In fact, I like the way Google pushes out updates probably more than the way Apple does. Apple kind of, if there's an update to the OS, it's like 8.0, 8.0, 8.0.1, 8.0.2. 8.1, 8.1.1, on down the line. Google, it may release, incremental upgrades of Android the same way, like, 4.4.1, 4.4.2, 4. So on and so forth. But Google also upgrades the individual apps. So, instead of, you might have all the apps pre-installed, Chrome and Hangouts and all these apps that are, installed by default potentially on the device. They get upgraded independent of the OS. And I wish Apple did it the same way, because it would alleviate probably a lot of the issues I had, because I have to wait for the entire OS to be updated just to see updates to individual apps that may have had fixes implemented. So I would actually like to see Apple move that direction in terms of releasing updates for the software that comes pre-installed on an iOS device. Whether or not they will, sadly, I do not know. But I wouldn't say it's dangerously similar to Android Jelly Bean in any way. Dangerous. The features can be mirrored. This is not news. People, it always I just kind of shake my head. I'm like, people, so-and-so copied so-and-so. I'm like, it's a feature. It was I'm not going to say it's begging to be copied, but it's a feature. It's not about the feature. It's about the implementation. And, Apple, I've got some issues with iOS 8. A decent feature set, but it's still lacking an insane amount of polish. Just kind of like Android was in its Jelly Bean stages. I think Android L, whatever it's going to be called in the final version, I think it's going to school Apple in terms of design. 2, Jerry Barnacle Nerdgasm. Well, that's not Jerry Berg, aka Barnacle Nerdgasm, once said on your live Geek Out, there's no such thing as free to play or free games on Steam and iOS, using in-app purchases to make their money. Like, they make games only playable to a certain point before becoming impossible without the in-app purchases. What do you think? I think there's a fine line between the two. So, we're going to be rebooting the LockerGnome app on iOS and Android, and I'm going to be using a platform that'll make it easier for you to support the community, for me to be able to provide a tool set and re-engage constantly at a deeper level than I can even with patrons. And part of that is going to be most likely in-app purchases. So I do blog posts on specific blog posts for patrons, but I could take those same blog posts and put them in the app. Or I could, unlock certain experiences in the app that I couldn't on Patreon. And I'm not a fan, just like a lot of people aren't a fan of ads. People block ads, people don't like ads, they want to get rid of ads. So, but you have to figure out a model around that. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can still do a free app without necessarily serving up ads. Could it happen? It's a possibility. I don't know. I do not have an answer to that question. But I'm basically going to be rebooting the LockerGnome community, or the community around me and my interest points, inside an app for iOS and Android. To be able to support that model, it's likely going to be in a freemium way. Like, it'll be free, but there will be different things that you could like upgrade to. Like, okay, so you will serve up ads for like 99 cents, unlock it, or for 99 cents a month you get this, and this, and for $2 a month you get this, and this. So I'd be able to throw a whole bunch of bonuses into an app without necessarily having to charge for anything. And the thing is, it's easy to do. I've shown people how to earn iTunes gift cards for free, so it doesn't even cost you it won't even cost you anything. If you listen to me, and I know not everybody does, you can earn iTunes gift cards so easily. Go.tagjag.com/free apps, go.tagjag.com/free points. If you're not using either one of these, you're honestly, you're wasting your time with your iOS or Android device, because you could be earning free stuff. You could be paying for things with somebody else's money, and it's totally legit. So I'm going to give you a gateway. I'm like, hey, you want bonuses? You can earn stuff yourself, and you can help the community in the process. So I think it's very, very valuable, because people are not inclined to spend money unless they know what they're getting. So this is Apple's way around demos. You can't get a demo. You get the app, and then you either like it or you don't. Where I think it becomes a challenge is when you're playing a game, you enjoy the game, and then you have to pay in order to move on. And I think that it takes away from the experience. Some people are willing to do that. I think there's a fine balance in how you approach in-app purchases, but I think there's an absolute validity to in-app purchases. Absolutely, no doubt about it. I do take advantage of in-app purchases frequently enough. If I know I'm going to use an app, if I know I'm going to want a feature, sure, absolutely. It's easy to do. It's easy. It's simple. But people just, they've stopped buying software for 99 cents. It's too expensive. Give me a break. I remember having to buy software. $50 a pop. 99 cents is a bargain. And it comes so easy. People who just get their, where I think they get their knickers twisted, is specifically because they can't cheat the system. Wah. Wah. That's all I hear. Because these are the same people who, on one hand, say, I support these are my favorite people who create content, but I block ads. I use this program, but I didn't buy it. Wink, wink. That's not support at all, not even remotely. I don't want those people around me. Those are horrible people. Really, honestly, truly. Like, you can't claim on one hand that you're supporting something and on the other hand cheat the system. It doesn't work that way. It's like me walking into a coffee shop or a coffee shop, bubble tea shop, whatever. Just think of your favorite drink, and even if it's water, going in and saying, wow, I like that coffee. I think I'm just going to take it. Excuse me, sir, you have to pay for that. No, I can drink. I'm drinking it for free. Look at that. I'm drinking it for free. Ha! What you gonna do about it? Well, we're gonna tell you to get out, and we're also going to call the authorities. You can do that in a coffee shop. Can't necessarily do that with software because it's easy to cheat the system. Too easy to cheat the system, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of content creators had to get very creative in terms of how they approach the marketplace. And I consider game developers and app developers content creators as well. They're creating content. It just happens to be an app. So those are my thoughts outright about in-app purchases. Finally, he says, I have a YouTube channel. Try to use it for my all things tech hangouts once a week. It's not picking up. I don't have any access to hardware to review. Not possible in my country. I got no idea what to use it for. Can you help me get it off the floor? Can't promise to help. I'll take a look. And the reason why I can't promise to help is because there are a lot of people out there who are creating content. In fact, I've got a blog post coming up for patrons. You'll be able to see it on why it is very, very difficult to create a business around content creation today. And I think that that's going to be more and more difficult as time goes on. So I'll do my best to provide feedback. If I like what I see, certainly I would be happy to share it. I'm very, very happy to do that. I have to be careful about saying, yes, I'll do it. Because imagine if all 30,000 people were watching say, hey, look at my thing, share my thing. I suddenly my ability to be a filter would become watered down. So I will give feedback. But I will also tell you to stay tuned for that blog post that I've just composed that will be published within the next week just for you. He says, in closing, I'd love to thank you for everything you do. Your vlogs help me go on, especially in times like this. Steve, a.k.a. Tech Zero, you keep being what you are, and I will do my best to help you throughout your life. Honestly, that's what Chris does. Chris just sits here and helps people, which he's happy to do. I'm talking about myself in the third person. Now, speaking of my patrons, my super nomies, I'm going to go ahead and run this presentation in the background and talk at the same time about something I assembled. I didn't really build this. I can't say building, but I've been talking about this all week. I love this system. It's LittleBits. That's the name of these various components. And you think about something you want to create. And for years, you'd have to go to the store and buy something, or you'd have to have all the components and you'd have to assemble something to be able to create the thing you wanted. Well, the problem is electricity and working with electronic components isn't brain dead simple, but it could be in terms of basic building blocks and a basic structure. So LittleBits is a series of components that you can put together in a variety of ways to create certain things. So what I've assembled here with a power component, with what would be a button component and a servo component, not a tom servo component, is this. Watch. So I can, with these three modules, power, button, and servo, I'm making it turn by pressing the button. So how is this valuable? Well, there are all sorts of recipes that you can use within the LittleBits universe. I happen to have the deluxe kit right here, and as you can see, you can save 20% on your LittleBits purchase by using the coupon code LockerGnome over on the LittleBits website. You could get the deluxe kit if you want. This is something, honestly, that I can see myself just buying, I hate saying, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these, because imagine you want to do something and you know the components you need, but you run out of components. Well, you get these LittleBits components. They snap together magnetically, powered here by a simple 9-volt battery. Any 9-volt battery will do, although the LittleBits kit that I got came with a 9-volt battery, everything you needed right out of the box. And then, most importantly, you get like this, I'm just going to call it a recipe booklet. And I don't know if that's what they officially call it. They say over 5 million circuit combinations, 15 projects in a box, hundreds of projects online, endless hours of fun. And this is with 18 bits or 18 modules. So these are like recipes. So you put these components together and you can do different things. And then you could use them in real world scenarios, like make a flickering lantern, make something called a catnap, make a, one of the things that I had fun with the other day with this was like a, where was it? The shoelace thing. Prank handshake, tickle machine. There was this thing where you could put these components together, and then the glowing wire, I think it's an EL wire right here, and then string it through shoelaces, and then as you walk, if you tie the wire around the button instead of having the other end being this component, easily snaps on and off. This could be an EL wire. Watch. This component, easy. There we go. Now, when I flick the button, the EL wire glows. So you can put this in a shoelaces, and tie the other end around, so as you're walking, it pushes the button, and it's like you have glowing shoelaces as you walk. So you're not limited by electronics anymore. You're not limited by supply necessarily. You're limited by your imagination. So take a look. This is a lot of fun. I'm definitely an adult, but this is going to be one of Jedi, my daughter, her first experiences with putting together electronic components. It's a great place to start, certainly better than any option that I had when I was a kid. Take a look. Please do. This, to me, honestly, you want to talk about a near perfect gift for any child or even an adult. I would have, honestly, if Diana gifted this to me as an adult, I'd be like, what is this? Oh, that's kind of neat. Click, 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 click. And then suddenly I'm doing things, and suddenly I'm making things. Make your own future. Design your own future. You don't have to be limited by what's out there on store shelves. You can build something that you want, that you need, and you control these components without worrying about hurting yourself, which is what I would worry about with a soldering iron. I remember one of my first experiences with the soldering iron. Sorry. It was sitting on the table, and I was soldering. And by the way, I soldered a new capacitor in one of these Tix clocks years ago. It's still working. So I'm not saying I'm skilled, but I'm saying that I did not set myself on fire. And it still works. So it's sitting on the table, and then my hand knocked the cord. And instinctually, I went to grab the iron as it's sliding off. Because I'm like, oh, it's sliding off. I'm thinking hot. Okay. But luckily, I mean, as my hand, it was sliding. This is a true story. It's sliding off the table. My hand, I'm reaching for it, and it just barely misses it. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God I missed that, because it would have hurt if I would have grabbed onto that soldering iron, man. Oh, because it would have been right on that tip. It was, boom. Oh, I'm like, whoa. But I did not burn myself. I've not burned myself on a soldering iron. I'm very happy to say that. Let me go ahead and kick in the screensaver here and continue answering question. Christian Magdalena asks, how's Diana liking the iPhone 6? Does she miss the iPhone 5S? Are the adjustments hard? Well, Christian, glad you asked this question. I'm not going to answer it outright. I've kind of asked her a few qualifying questions. What I plan on doing is getting her to do an iPhone 6 review. Her review of the iPhone 6, I'm going to ask her a series of questions like, what'd you think about this? 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 And kind of talk her through it. And she's probably going to be sitting here, and I'm going to do that iPhone 6 review, Diana's iPhone 6 review, and just make it exclusive to her patrons and my patrons. It's just going to be an exclusive review of Diana's take on the iPhone 6 and her experiences with it. Jim Peterson asks, hi, Chris. I'm a PHP programmer and working as a freelancer. So, what's your opinion about being self-employed and its future specialty on information technology? Dang, I apologize. First, I think it's going to become more prevalent. Second, I think it's challenging, whether you're a PHP developer, working as a freelancer, or you work for a company, because there are a lot of programmers out there skilled, much like I would imagine you are, Jim. Being self-employed is a challenge. And I just tweeted about this last night. One component of being self-employed is that you have to pay for everything. I have no benefits package. I have no option to getting health insurance at all. I got to cover it myself. I work with other independent contractors. We're in a completely different type of tax system. We have different stresses. You look at things and go, oh, well, he's doing fine. I don't know if you realize this, but at this point, I'm paying 3 people for helping me do the things that I'm doing right now. And I'm not even saying that I'm doing a great job at it, but I'm paying 3 people for services. And not to mention all the other costs that I have to cover. So when you see things on the, let's say the Patreon website, people are they make snap judgments. He's fine. I got to cover everything. These are things that people just don't, they honestly, I would consider anybody who makes snap judgments like that, ignorant. And there are a lot of ignorant people floating around out there who just see one number and they just automatically assume that that number can be associated with the way they live life. Well, freelancers fully understand the amount of costs and stress that you go through as a freelancer. Wondering whether or not you're going to have a gig next week. I mean, it's a big deal. So I still think it's going to be the future. The thing is as freelancers, and I would consider myself kind of in the freelancer arena, we need better options, more options that create stability in terms of our endeavors. It's easier to work at home. It's easier to set your own hours as long as you get your projects done. But there's there's an issue with self-employment that it just has not yet been spoken to, that stability of self-employment. You gain something, but you lose something. I mean, there's no perfect scenario. But I think that in terms of being self-employed, the benefits far outweigh the drawbacks, but the drawbacks are always nipping at your heels. And I tweeted this last night. Someone, hang on. I apologize. Oops, sorry. Did not mean to kick in my password there. The password prompt, that is. Let me see if I can pull up the website. Someone had mentioned this last night as freelancers, and I looked into it, but I don't think it's available in my state yet. Okay, no. Flip tab. Come on. There we go. I wanted to flip between. freelancersunion.org. Check it out. So the idea is that you get health, dental, disability, liability, term life, retirement, all the things that you might get as benefits in working for somebody else, but as an independent. But I don't know if this option is available to you. But this is the kind of thing that I would want to have or potentially buy into if it decreases my costs, increases my stability, and improves lifestyle. So there are challenges. There are certainly challenges. But I think even in the future on information technology, it's going to be easier and easier for you to do what you do. Because why would you have to be on site? If you're able to get your projects done, if you can communicate effectively, and you can do so at a cost-effective manner, I think the future is bright for freelancers, but I think there's got to be a lot more stability to be added for that to become a viable option in the future, honestly. So, Jim, I would say, and someone speaking as someone who operates very much like a freelancer, good luck. Robert Lamastus asks, are you going to Buffer Festival? I will be supporting it remotely this year because of some circumstances that are a bit beyond my control. I will not be able to attend, but I very much support Corey and his endeavors. One of the better YouTube events that I've had an opportunity to attend. It is very, very valuable, and I appreciate everything that his team has done to put into it. I've even referred a couple of potential sponsors over to them, so I'm very much in support of every other YouTube event, honestly. But then again, I don't look at anything as competition. I don't. Because I think everyone's got a good idea, a good approach, and hey, the more attention that we have brought into the industry, the better off I think everybody is. Stefan asks, how would someone deal making videos on YouTube if they don't like their recorded voice? I hate my voice. Hate it. It's high-pitched, it's squealy, it's nasally, and especially if I can't talk. I hate my voice. But that doesn't stop me. I remember one of the first times I was when I had started my radio show years ago, on radio, legitimate radio, as opposed to online radio, which isn't legitimate. I said, I hate my voice. What do I do? He says, my mentor said, no, don't worry about it. It's memorable. You like that. So be memorable. If you don't like your recorded voice, get over it. I don't know what to tell you. Be memorable. Sky's the limit, 5154. A.k.a. Scott Unimura asks, I guess depending on patrons, would you consider hiring someone to do the video editing for you? Why or why not? Well, it's kind of where I am right now. I'm working with John Prosser, even though we're not at the patron level where we need to be, because unfortunately there's a massive discrepancy. Like 20% of the pledges that you see on patreon.com are not coming through. They're just not. I don't know where I'm going to get the money. Unless I find like more patrons, that's all I can do. And I don't know. People just aren't. People want money. I understand that. Obviously, money makes the world go round. I can't just ask someone to do something for free necessarily. I got to figure out how they're going to be compensated. So I'm biting the bullet and trying a different approach to doing edited video, and I'm working with John on that as we speak. So that's the answer to that question. I plan on continuing that, but John has been the best video editor I've found to date. And so yes, hiring someone, but it takes money. In order to get money, you've got to find a business model. Well, it's a whole bunch of mishmashed business models all kind of crammed into one. It's just how it goes. So I always try to find ways to help people earn money, make money, or find ways of giving them an opportunity to earn stuff. Like getting PayPal money for free using go.tagjag.com/free points. Brian Roberts asks, how are you doing, mentally speaking? I'm working, I'm doing things, I'm moving forward, but, I guess all my life experiences have brought me to this point. It's a bit stressful, I'll admit, being a father, or new father, and accommodating everything that I have to do on a daily basis. But, I'm doing fine. I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking, Brian. Adam Toms asks, what advice would you give someone wanting to start vlogging? I myself am thinking of starting off with podcasting as a way to get confidence in putting myself out there. I've said it before, and I'm not trying to be flip, but you just got to do it. It's like Stefan was asking, like, well, I don't like what if they don't like their voice? You just got to do it. You got to do it. And it may work, it may not. Like Tech Zero was saying, he's tried something, it's not working. There are reasons it's not working. And it probably has nothing to do with the quality of Tech Zero's content at all. And like I said, I speak to this in a pending blog post for patrons. So, to me, you've got to figure out what you're doing differently. That's just one component. What are you doing to address the question of, there's a lot of stuff going on. Let me ask you this. You're listening to this video, you're watching this video, listening to this video, listening to the audio in this video. You could be doing something else. Why are you listening to this? Why are you taking your time for this? Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, what is it going to take for someone, instead of paying attention to you, to pay attention, or instead of paying attention to someone else, paying attention to you? And that's the problem sometimes in addressing people who are doing their own thing. They're too busy to listen to you because they're doing their own thing. They're creating. So with so many people creating, no one's listening. Or very few people are listening, or fewer people are listening because there's more stuff going on. You have to address those questions. You have to understand what it's going to take for you to rise above that. And the answer may not be clear. And that's going to change over time. But to start, you just got to start. Start somewhere and grow from there. See what works. Double down on that. And go with wherever you feel you need to go. Go where you feel you need to go. It's going to change over time. But what works today will absolutely not work next year. Just assume that going into this kind of game. If you want to start vlogging, understand it's very, very time intensive. People don't realize, I got to pick up this camera, every 5 minutes seemingly to get a clip that I think is going to be worth watching. Some people vlog and they just don't care. They're all over the place and they do well. I can't do that. I don't want to put a video out there like that. It's not what I want to do. It's not what I want to be known for. I want a good story. I want a good video. I want something that feels like this was worth watching at some level, worth watching versus just a waste of time. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. That's how I do vlogging. Some people do it differently. Depends. Different types of vloggers, different types of vlogging stories. It's completely up to you. But I'd say that the hardest thing is just doing it and realizing it's going to take a lot of time. I lose hours every day. On doing things that I wouldn't necessarily need to do if I wasn't vlogging. But to me, the benefit of vlogging outweighs the drawback. At this point, it's creating these stories so that Jedi, when she's older, will have the stories and have that day that she'll be able to watch. And she won't remember these days. She won't. As she becomes a child, she'll remember more and more and more. But to have that documentation, throughout adult life, I would have liked that. I would have liked that if that was a part of my family growing up. I enjoyed home movies, though. I really did. I'm a huge home movies fan. So, Adam, there's my suggestions. Top-level suggestions for you. Adam, good luck. Now, I did not get to address any of the Q&A, or I guess the questions asked in the AMA open thread on Facebook. Those questions I will be addressing in the pending podcast. As I said at the beginning of this broadcast, you can subscribe to the podcast. It's on SoundCloud. You can get it through iTunes, blah, 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 blah. Plan on doing it weekly, just audio, AMA. It's not just about one particular topic. I put it under the banner of like personal journals. So think of it like an audio vlogging type of experience, but it's very heavily weighted on AMA, but it's going to be what it is every week. The Chris Pirillo Show. There you go. Now, at this point, I am going to answer another question, a separate question. I do a Q&A every day with you and me. Today, I'm answering the question, are desktops obsolete? If you want to know my answer to that question, I think you'd be surprised as to how I'm going to answer this question. I will be answering it right now in a separate video. It will be exclusive to the Super Nomies. And we've got almost 100 now. I think that'll be 99, exclusive video number 99. Some people complain. They're like, you're putting it behind a paywall. Well, if you want it, get it. But you're putting it behind a paywall. If you want coffee, buy it. If you don't want something, don't get it. I don't know what to tell you. It's a big internet. There are more people out there doing things that you just go to them. If you want to know what I have to say, thank you. I appreciate your support. So that's the question I'm going to answer in the separate video today. Watch it right now if you want. Thank you. for being you. Hope you had a good week. Hope you have a great weekend. I hope you're happy, as long as your happiness does not come at the cost of somebody else's happiness. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, watching our vlogs, watching videos in this channel, doing the things that you love to do. Hopefully, this was one of them. And, if nobody else has told you today, I love you, I appreciate you, and I believe in you. At this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices.